So I'm in the house right now. Usually I done went on. I've been there, went on outside and started my video, but I just wanted to say a few things, things I'm reminded of, and one thing that's standing out now. Of course, I always miss my daughter, think about my daughter, and speak about her, but even when I'm here with my sons, I still love them. I still sometimes even miss them or feel like I miss them. And I definitely check in on them, check on certain stuff. They be on social media often, so um, specifically my older son, I I check in on him because I check his email and I see some of the comments and stuff that he gets from YouTubers or whatever, because he comments on their videos or they comment on his, and a lot of stuff. Of course, when I see somebody being negative towards him, of course I'm like, more than likely I tell him to block them as opposed to saying anything back. But he has his own personality where he likes to say some stuff back. Sometimes he like to go back and forth. I be trying to tell my kids it's definitely not worth it to go back and forth with anybody on the internet. I mean, it's anybody in life, but anybody on the internet. It's just not worth putting your energy in. But he could decide. That's his social interaction. And so I just pray, that God meets him at his place of need. And and I also see some comments that alarm me regarding him. They alarm me, but of course I just feel like that's my son. Like almost like he could do no wrong. But no, I'm not gonna be that type of parent that be like, I'm gonna overlook what my kids do, but what everybody else's kids do. It's that's on them. They can do that. No, but I guess it alarms me because like it can come off as mean, some of the stuff he says, or it can actually probably be mean. I don't know if that's not me still trying to go around it. I hope, but I said come off as mean because I know my son is not a mean person. Um, do he have? I don't want to call it a mean streak. Do he have some potential to be mean? Yeah, because his that old what's his name was definitely, and of course people call me mean, they call me crazy. I don't receive or agree with any of it, but they say that mine is mean, and I just be when I be speaking up about something, I don't definitely don't intend it to be mean. I don't intend it to hurt anybody's feelings or be offensive. I just know that it's the right thing for me to speak up about. I just feel within me that's what I'm supposed to be speaking up about, and in the tone and the manner that I speak up about it in. So that's the thing with my son. He's genetically not with the hereditary and all that. He might have what people would consider a mean streak or a mean spot or whatever. So I don't know. So I just, always come humbly to the Lord, asking Him to meet my sons at their place of need. Because even in the house, like this morning, my youngest son came and was like, that my oldest son did some stuff that I'm just like, Lord, I do not want to wake up talking about this. So I'm like, it does come off as mean to his brother, or it comes off as annoying, definitely, and obnoxious, and I be having to help them resolve it. So it's like, what do you do when you got two kids and one of them is bothersome to the other one, and one of them is telling on the other one, and yeah, how do you handle it? So that's why I'm just asking God, meet him at his place of need, meet him at the place where he needs work and improvement, and help him to improve. He's doing good and well right now, but Lord, he could improve, and so just trusting God to do that part. What else? What else did I have to say about it? Yeah, it was just like I said, it was just the comments that I'd be like, boy, that is so unnecessary. You don't have to say that to them people. Why don't you just get on there, play your little game, play your game, and then exit stage right. do right. But they do have to learn how to apply stuff. And stuff, of course, it just comes naturally. And I guess I like it too because some of it just comes naturally, and it's naturally boyish type of stuff. It's almost like mannish type stuff to me. So I'd be like, yeah, I'm for it because I don't, I'm not being offensive when I say I don't want my sons being no types of sissies, no, what I'm saying. I really don't even like to use that word, but that's for lack of well, other words that I almost don't mind using. I don't want to say because I know that they're probably offensive or derogatory to other people. So yeah, I just don't want my sons being, and I don't mind them being a little slight soft, but I don't want them being what society considers as soft and this, that, and the third, whatever. I don't want them being so tough that so hardened, should I say, that nothing can penetrate. Um, just a little rough around the edges, maybe, but if that makes any sense. But that's that or whatever. But I definitely still want them to be gentlemen. I really do. That's one thing that I would love for my sons, both of them, to grow up and be gentlemen. And right now, they definitely are some young gentlemen, but they got their little stuff with them. But God, to God be all the glory. Continuously submitting my son's lives over to them. My older one even has the desire to be baptized, and I'm just trying to. I just need God's timing and God's okay for me to either baptize him myself or some other type of way. But I'm glad that he's expressed that he wants to, and I'm hoping with that come with what comes along with that is, of course, you want to actually be saved. You don't just want to be baptized and in vain and stuff like that, if that's the thing. But yeah, so anyway, so that's what we own. Um, Still just mentally prepping, prepping myself and preparing myself for our outing and stuff like that. Because we don't be going nowhere, so I really do have. It takes all of that for me to plan and prep and stuff like that. And of course, I just want God's peace. I want God's hands on it. I don't want to just be doing stuff just to be for the sake of be doing stuff. I want to spend time with my kids elsewhere. I want them to know that, it's things that it is happenings outside the house, but you do need to be mindful and be where you're supposed to be, go where you're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Don't be deviating and taking detours and doing other stuff you got no business doing. And that's why I live such a life where, I mean, this part of why I do it is because I need to be doing it for myself is discipline. Even my older son did speak about discipline yesterday. He did say discipline or self discipline, which is awesome. But yeah, it's just sometimes you go to the wrong place that can cause you to do what you ain't got no business doing because you're already being at the place that you ain't got no business being at. So I do live at I don't want to say I do that, but I do live at operate at that type of I operate in that type of way as far as just But Dave Show, what's his name, honey? You might can find him just about anywhere, and then not being at the places he's supposed to be at, but absolutely being at places that he ain't got no damn business being. Anyway, that's old news as far as I'm concerned. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. I just don't want that trickling down to my sons, and I don't want the consequences or his actions and stuff to highly affect my kids. Of course, just being absent, period, and of course not present, it affects my children already. But whatever he got going on and ain't got no business doing, let that show up in his vicinity. Seriously, like I don't want that around mine. I don't want that around me. So I do try to stay on that straight and narrow, which is why when I do these videos, you don't really see no other different scenery except for me here at the house. Um, which is it is what it is. I'm good on it because I'm thankful for a roof over my head, shelter. I'm thankful for God just helping me to stay in my lane and stay where I'm supposed to be at. Cause it was a time when, honey, I might have been places I ain't got no business being too, and a lot of times I didn't realize it cause I was young. I go them. I didn't realize them so-called neighbors was finna pull up in my video. Like I'm at the point where I'm just irritated even with that too. But yeah, didn't realize that because I was young though. And but sometimes parents will tell you, stay out from over there, or don't do this, don't go here. But yeah, um, mm, just just want them to be careful. And then of course he's an example, even whether he want to be or not, for his younger brother who's looking up to him. And yeah, so trying to just maintain that. Uh, uh, then the other thing I was thinking about, which I know I mentioned it before, was was the fact that oh yeah, okay, so again back to the time when we went to a theme park with my so-called mom, her husband, stuff like that. We was invited, me and my children, and I was definitely gonna bring. I mean, when we go somewhere, you can't really limit who comes or whatever if they are riding together. But anyway, I was trying to get, oh, what's his name, to come. I asked him once. I wasn't gonna pressure him. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't trying to force him to come, but I was asking him to come. But I just wanted to, honey, at that time, I wanted relief and to get around something healthy once again because I had already been around so much toxic stuff with him, stuff like that. So I asked him one good time. You know how you just ask somebody to make sure you put it out there, come on, but they invited, but they ain't. This was the time when he probably was invited, but wasn't necessarily welcomed. And and it was me feeling like that, but it wasn't necessarily I don't know. It could have been other people that's just not welcoming him. They didn't mention him or anything like that. So, but it was be just like, come on, come with us. And he was like, no. And he just ended up giving us some money, $100 for me and three children, which of course one was a baby, but me and three children, and that was all we had to spend. With our tickets was already paid for, covered as far as going to the place, but we just had a little spending money or whatever, which I was grateful for. So I goes, and then in there, my so-called mom was like, "Did he give you some money?" Like, just knew the questions to ask, honey. Like, I don't know how, and I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at you knowing which questions to ask your children, grown children, but anyway, children, nevertheless. I'm not mad at that, but I just, as I look back, I don't know, it's something that kind of just almost tries to sting or again be obnoxious or just a nuisance about it. I don't know though. I could just be, I could be wrong, and is what it is. But and I'm not battling with who's right and who's wrong. I'm just looking at the situation. Period. So, and I was like, yeah. And I said it with confidence. I knew he had gave us a little bit of money or whatever. And it was, I mean, $100 for four people at a theme park, baby. That's not going to stretch you like that. We needed something to eat, this, that, and third. Plus, I'm the type, I don't know, just because you give me some money, that don't mean I'm going to spend it all in that one place. I had to come back home. And this was the time when money was tight, 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 tight. Money is tight still, but this, that was like three, four tights. So, so, she asked that, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just was like, "Yep," and did, and better, and need to, knowing your kid's going somewhere. Yep, and he has declined on the offer to go and stuff like that. So left him where he was. Okay, bye. Because me and my kids, I'm not finna have mine missing out on opportunities that we invited to that are healthy and that are, what I'm saying, not people just sitting around, not being funny when I say this about his own relatives or whatever, but sitting around just drinking, looking at the same scenery, some go on the side of the house and smoke and this and the third. I mean, hey, y'all grown, so that's what I was told. We grown. Okay, go ahead and do that then. Hold that down. And but don't nobody want. I don't want that for my kids. I don't give a damn if they are bloodline. Now, if that's all that we can do and afford to do, because now that's, of course, that's, I've been able to do this here, looking at the same scenery and this, that, and the third. Um, Someone would say I put my foot in my mouth with that, but I didn't even really say it. I just thought it. I was like, nah, not mine. Ain't no way. And so, but of course, we've been around the house with the pool and with the swing set and stuff like that. So I didn't have no choice. But that's because, again, I got left behind with that that responsibility. When of course, to this day, I feel like that's not what we're supposed to be experiencing, and that's not what was told to me. That's not what was discussed. There was times we talked about moving to a different location and stuff like that, and of course he didn't keep talking about it, but he talked about moving to a different location. Then he got involved with some female, and he was like, "Yeah, me and her was gonna move," and I'm like, "What?" And then of course the last one that I knew he was with, that person lived in a total different town, and he moved. I mean, he literally moved out there and stayed out there, and I'm like, "What?" Wow. And so because I didn't understand what was wrong with being local and remaining local. If I'm not mistaken, this is where he was born at, but I don't know. See, you don't get to know people, then you just don't know. But to me, of course, I do feel with that whole situation, it was something where his now deceased mom was tied and connected to, and I don't know, maybe somebody had already told them that they owned him, and I was just like, oh. Oh, okay. So y'all got that. Anyway, not to go around what I was talking about. She said that or whatever, and I had, like I said, it was $100. So in my mind, $25 a piece, 30 for me, or if you ask me, 30 for me, and then the three kids get, you know what I'm saying? But anywho, cause mama gonna give herself a little $5 extra though. Someone would say, "Now we get the kids the extra." No, baby, not not for what I've been doing with. But no, she said that, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But she had, to me, it just look back and I just feel like she I guess had the right mindset starting off, but then other motives. It's like, are you asking me that? Do you feel like you're looking out for your husband and his money or whatever? Because he invited us. Because if he didn't feel like he could cover us, why would he invite us? And so I don't know. Or are you looking out? Are you truly looking out for me? Making it known that, do you got your own money? Because even though he invited you, you still need to be. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know which way to take it or whatever. Only God knows. Only God knows how she truly meant it or how I'm supposed to perceive it, receive it. And again, this was years ago. This was when my youngest son was, in which he about to be 7, so he was still in a stroller and stuff. So yeah. So I look back on that. Then I look back on another time when I went. Well, I know 2 other times I went somewhere. One time went, she was just in there, just upset and not saying nothing to me. And again, I come back and I find out, oh, somebody called CPS, and it was the specific details that let me know, oh, it had to be you because nobody else knew. It was either mine. That's the only thing. That's not the only thing, but one of the things about my now deceased grandma that I could see, okay, if she went back, and whether she did it accidentally, I'd be trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, whether she did it just talking, because families are supposed to discuss stuff about other family members at times, or whether she did it deliberately to let my so-called mom know what was going on in my house, even though my so-called mom wasn't coming here and wasn't invited here and wasn't I don't want to say wasn't welcome, but wasn't invited here definitely. So you giving her the insight on my life and giving her, some ammunition to be able to move in a certain way regarding my house that she don't even come to, and this, that, and the third. No. So that was one that stands out as far as that. Like, are you gossiping, or are you really because you have a care and a concern? Um, and a lot of times to me, it seemed like my now deceased grandma had a care and a concern, because when something was going on, she would make moves to try to help us out and stuff. My earring just popped out my ear. But yeah, she would try to make moves to help us out. So I'm like, okay, I took it as that's being nice. That's what we supposed to do with each other. But maybe it turned into something sour. I don't know. But again, I'm trying to stay on topic. So came back and that happened. I was like, okay, now that right there, I don't like that, and I don't care for that. It's one thing to It's one thing just to hold the right person accountable or sit down and have a conversation so you'll know before you make any crazy moves or whatever. So then the other time I went somewhere with her husband, she didn't go. And it was of course a little theme park or whatever, a little water park. And I did hear him say, I guess, people get comfortable enough to where they'll say what they really be feeling or probably really be discussing behind closed doors, which I guess as you get older and grown, you need to know what the real is. But me, I'm like, no, my kids need to know what the real is. They need to know how people really feel about them, that they feel like they're tag alongs or this, that, and the third. They don't really have that unconditional type of love for them. They just feel like, oh, I gotta do this because this, that, and the third. I gotta do this because I gotta look like the image. I gotta look like a good granddad or a good grandma, even though these are not my biological. And I was like, y'all wild for that because I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. I did understand the concept, or I was like being programmed for that because I thought that I started to think that's what we're supposed to do. No, we've got to keep it real with ourselves. We got to keep it real. That's the only way you're gonna be able to operate in truth anyway. That's why so much mess and BS going on. So, with all that said, I be trying not to go. I'm telling you, I be trying not to go off the deep end because it really scares me. I'm like, if we operate in truth, baby, it's a whole lot of people that just definitely would not make it or be here. I don't even want to say barely making it, just would not be here, period. If we operate in truth and I guess the fullness of God's truth, or it ain't no other truth. So, um, but like it'll just be erasure for real. But I don't know. I just leave it at that. When it comes to talking about that, but yeah, so went and he invited us to this, and I was like, "Well, I don't really have the money to go." I think I had like $45, and I just was not gonna spend it on nothing. I was gonna make sure that my household was taken care of, and that was barely making it. So that wasn't making it at all. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep my money in my pocket. I said, well, we don't really got enough to go right now. And so he was like, well, I'll pay for y'all. Come on. So me and my three kids went. Me as operating as a single mom, went again, watching a baby, in the pool. And then I still got to keep my eyes on my younger ones, who, of course, my other son at the time, he couldn't swim. And then my daughter, she could swim a little bit, but I still got to watch all of them. So we was doing that. and and this was just like a hop, skip, and a jump a few years ago. And so we went and he paid and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, okay, you really want us to be here. And I'm feeling a little insecure within myself because, again, here I go again, not having the man with the kids. Now, I didn't add no more kids to the thing. I only had those kids with the same man that I had it with. But here I go again, feeling looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, no man here. And that was my main. Honestly, that was like the main thing. It was how I looked. Like, I looked like I laid down and had these kids and just didn't um encourage, which I was encouraging real bad. Carisha voice. But yeah, I was encouraging them to do what they needed to do for their kids. But guess it ain't good enough for you to make them do what they need to do regarding you and the kids. So that's how I proceeded. But I still, that wasn't finna stop me from having fun or having them experiences and taking my kids to have certain experiences. Cause I'm like, we not finna do this. So then, like later on, after it was all said and done, I hear him say, "Oh yeah, I got my money back for y'all." So it was almost like you minded spending the money to a certain extent. You took the risk, but you didn't really want to spend that. And for me, he's not my biological dad or anything like that. He was just that stepdad or step in or whatever. So I understand the feelings of it. But I just don't know, like, if you're gonna do that, should you even invite people to begin with? Should you just not say, let me just go on with the ones that, but there's a reason why God allowed for me to be there, for me to see. I just feel like for me to see again how people really be operating or whatever. And no, we didn't get treated bad or anything like that, but just for somebody to have that mindset of, oh, hey, yeah, well, I got my money back for them. And I don't know if he got his money back for anybody else or whatever, but other ones that went was his own, was his kids with my so-called mom and stuff like that. So, and of course, my other sister, who's not his child, biological child, and stuff like that. So I'm just like, wait, what? And I think we rode with her and stuff like that because I didn't have a vehicle at the time, and it was just that, and I was just like, this how y'all really, and so it just teaches you how adults really be adulting out here.